I broke that barrier of always thinking that you need like very expensive gear to make videos. The story and what you're trying to create is more important than whatever expensive camera you're using to film.
You're about to hit 1 million subscribers. So can you talk us through how you've got this far?
The whole point of YouTube is like you have to find the intersection between what you love and what people love.
Do you have any strategies to make sure you're keeping up with trends, or how important are trends to you?
Hi, I'm Hannah, known online as Fabulous Hannah.
And I'm Simi, known online as Tamago247. Welcome to Making It, a podcast for creators by creators, where we could discuss all the different ways you can level up your content, grow your channel, and make it on YouTube.
We're both creators ourselves, and on this show, we talk with other creators about their journey to success, and we hear about everything they've learned along the way.
On today's episode, we're joined by a passionate filmmaker and storyteller on a mission, Tayo Aina. Tayo, welcome to Making It.
Yeah, what's up, Simi? How are you doing? Thanks for having me on here.
Welcome. So, Tayo, from your bio and from watching your content, it's clear that you have a very strong vision when it comes to telling the stories that you do on your channel. Could you tell us a bit more about how you go about telling these stories and what sort of stories you tell as well?
Yeah, so I started out as somebody who didn't even have any knowledge about making videos on YouTube, and that was sometime in 2017. And during that period, I think I just took my phone and started taking pictures on the streets of Lagos. And from there, that was where like I came up with the idea of making a video for the first time. And then I made my first video on YouTube. And it was from there I started watching, a lot of like YouTubers on the internet, people like Peter McKinnon, Casey Neistat. Those were some of the people that inspired me to make more videos. I saw the videos they were making about places like New York and places like Canada. So I said, okay, why can't I do this for Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, where I'm at? And that's kind of like how it started. And that's kind of like how it started, basically.
Nice. I'm so excited to hear more about your story, Tayo. I feel like you're such an interesting guy. And to hear more about your creative process as well. But one thing we do at the beginning of each of these episodes is have a look at our creator's first creation. However, we're going to do things a little bit differently this time. So we're going to have a look at one of your very first YouTube videos, and then we're going to compare it to one of your more recent videos.
Okay.
Let's take a look. I'm excited.
If I was to start a YouTube channel, what would I like to discuss? I like travel. I like businesses. I like startups. I like photography. I like making videos. I think I just picked up that recently, and I like making videos. I like creating videos.
Since I got my new passport and can now explore the Caribbean, I wanted to realize my dream of having a Bahamian vacation. I always look forward to seeing the beautiful beaches, the expensive private jets of wealthy celebrities, and the famous peaks that swim in the clearest of waters, which I hope to see at the end of this video.
I mean, the absolute upgrade, not just in terms of the video content, but I mean, even your swag. I saw you in the sunglasses. I was like, wow, okay. This guy is leveled up for real. I mean, tell us a bit more about, that experience of seeing the level of content you're making now.
I think, looking at these videos now, it's like very, will I say interesting, because it's like back then I didn't have any idea of how to shoot videos. When I made that first video, I think I shot that video on my phone and I didn't even know what I was doing, what I was saying. But like now it's like, making like full length like documentaries about places and, kind of like mixing it all together and specifically what is going to happen. So I think it's very interesting to see like that process of not knowing where you are, not knowing what you want to do, to now getting to this point where it's like you know exactly what you're trying to make when you go out to go and film a video. And the camera confidence has also kind of like increased. So yeah.
I mean, obviously everyone who starts a YouTube channel has that thought in their mind and they think, right, I'm actually going to do this, I'm going to go for it. But I'm interested to hear what actually made you want to start your YouTube channel at the very beginning.
Interestingly, I didn't plan on starting out a YouTube channel. Like, I think it was just, for me, it was just like where I could make videos and kind of like share with an audience. So I was first posting my videos on like other social media platforms. And then because I used to watch a lot of creators on YouTube and learn from them how they made their videos. So I was like, I'm watching all these guys, they're making all these videos. How about I also make my own and also share it to like I might find an audience. And that's kind of like how it started. And the plan was never to grow like a YouTube channel or even to become like a YouTuber. It just became something that I gradually fell in love with. So I fell in love with making videos, and then YouTube became the platform where I was sharing those videos with people and an audience. And then when I saw like, oh, a lot of people were getting value from it. I'm somebody who likes to give value. So I saw that, oh, okay, interesting. And then I just started to build that audience, and it just became fun. And then I fell in love with being like making videos on the platform, sharing it with the audience. So I think that's kind of like how it started, and that's how kind of like how I got to where I am now. Just a love for creating content and sharing it with an audience.
Right, right. No, absolutely. I mean, I can definitely relate to the feeling of you just want to make something, you want to put something out there. And YouTube can be a great outlet for that. What made you decide to focus specifically on the travel content? Looking at some of the older videos on your channel, you have quite a variety. Some of it was tech reviews, some of it was sort of personal vlogs. How did you decide travel was the thing you wanted to focus on?
Yeah. So before YouTube, I'd never really traveled. Like I didn't come from like a background where my parents had money to travel. Like I'd never gone anywhere. I think the only place I'd gone to was probably Benin Republic. So travel was something I always wanted to do, but I never got a chance to do. And I knew that, okay, I wanted to see the world, but there's no job that is called come and see the world job. There's no job where it's like, there's no job like that. So I think for me, all those different areas, travel, business, real estate, they were just things that I had interest in. I started to just say, okay, you love tech, make a video about tech. You love real estate, make a video about real estate. You love business, make a business video, make a travel video. And I think when I started pushing out all those content, like different types of content, I started to know, okay, which one do I love the most, and which one also resonates most with my audience, and which one do I see myself continuously doing.
I feel like that is the true essence of being a YouTube creator.
Yeah, 100%. I think you hit the nail on the head. And obviously, when you started it, you mentioned that you just used your phone or one simple camera. Did you ever feel that your equipment was kind of holding you back in the beginning?
Yes, I used to watch a lot of like all these reviews from all these YouTubers online, and I used to see like the high-end cameras they were using to make videos, and I used to just wish that, oh, I wish I had this video, I wish I had this camera, I wish I had this drone, all of that. But I think for me, it was just like, okay, what did I have with me at that moment? And if I had my phone, I would I broke that barrier of always thinking that you need like very expensive gear to make videos. So I just use my phone. If I'm somewhere, I just pick up my phone, make a video, and then push something out. Because the love was more for what I was making, and I wanted to get better at it. So I didn't really focus too much on the fact that, oh, I didn't have the best camera. I just used the phone in my pocket, and it was also very convenient. For me, it's like the best camera is the one you have in your pocket, the one you have available at every point in time. So if I go somewhere, I might have not even planned to make content, but just because my phone was with me, I was able to make videos. So I also don't. I think as time went on, I also realized that the story and what you're trying to create and share with people is more important than whatever expensive camera you're using to film it.
I think that's like an excellent message for a lot of aspiring creators. It's easy to look at some of the creators who are on the very top creating the most top of the line content. But ultimately, it is about what message you're trying to get out there, what story you're trying to tell that matters most. So thank you very much for sharing that. Now, obviously, as we have seen from your more recent videos, you have graduated to a much more advanced class of gear, which must be quite a milestone. And another milestone that creators are often excited to reach is joining the YouTube Partner Program. And for creators that don't actually know what the partner program is, could you tell us a bit more about that, as well as how it felt for you to achieve that milestone of joining the program?
So the YouTube partner program is a point where you reach after if you have, I think currently is if you cross the 1,000 subscriber mark and you have over 4,000 hour watch time, where you can begin to monetize your content. And I think before then, I didn't even know, I wasn't on any platform where I didn't even know it was possible for you to make videos and then like somebody should now pay you for the videos you're making. The only other way I knew to make videos was, let's say somebody wants you to shoot a wedding or you want to shoot like a video, a documentary for somebody else, then they pay you. But YouTube was the first platform for me where I was like, okay, you can create content and then you get money from AdSense. So me eventually getting to the point where I was able to get into the YouTube program was really amazing. And I think the first time the thing got turned on, I think within maybe like the first 2 weeks, I think I made like maybe like $10 or something. And I just kept refreshing and I kept looking at it that, oh wow, really? Like this thing is actually real. Like you can actually make money from it. So it was very exciting for me to get accepted into the program.
Obviously, it's a massive milestone to reach the YouTube Partner Program, but another milestone is that you're about to hit 1 million subscribers. You are well and truly on the way. So can you talk us through how you've got this far? I mean, what kind of strategy, what's your approach to creating content? A lot of people, I assume, would really look up to you for your numbers and want to know how you've done it, really.
Man, there's no simple answer to that question. Because there are so many, like, I think it's just, and that's what I think I tell, like, creators who are just getting started. I think one of the most important things that I've held on to, like, since I started and up to now, that I feel like very important for a lot of creators is, like, they should just fall in love with making videos. Like, I think for me, it was just like, I love making videos. So, like, whether I'm at 10,000, I'm at 100,000, I'm at 1 million, like, the love for making videos is what pushes me and drives me to keep creating every day. And yeah, it's exciting that, oh, I'm close to this 1 million mark that, like very soon I'm going to hit it. But I think what got me there, or what is getting me there, and what has taken me this far is just falling in love with making videos. And I think that's the number one strategy. Because if you fall in love with making videos, every other thing in terms of like, oh, you want to, come up with better ideas, come up with better stories, learn how to film, learn how to make good thumbnails, watch a lot of videos online about what strategies other creators are using. All of that will come much easily because YouTube is something where you have to constantly evolve. How I got to 100 subscribers is different from how I got to 1,000, different from 10,000, 100,000, and how I'm trying to get to 1 million because you have to keep on learning. So I don't really know if there's any strategy. I would say they should fall in love with making content. I think one of the things I did, so if I'm going to be like, I'm talking about like practical stuff now, was I kind of like focused more on, like a lot of YouTubers, one of the mistakes a lot of YouTubers make, which I also made when I started, was making different types of content, which is not a mistake, but it's like, if your channel doesn't have something that is specifically known for, it becomes a problem. So it's like I even made a food video. I made food videos, I made tech videos, I made tutorials, made travel. I was making everything. And then my channel just was very scattered. But it was good at the beginning to figure out what I actually loved making videos about. And when I figured out that, oh, okay, what are the 3 types of content you really love making videos about? And I realized that, okay, it was real estate, business stories, and anything travel related. And that was how I kind of like got from, like 10, 20, 30, 40K, I think 100K to like probably like 500, 600K. And interestingly now, it has also changed because now I don't even make I don't make business story videos anymore. Like all my videos now is like, I'm more focused on travel now. I'm like, okay, I want to just create stories and I want to just travel and tell different stories about different places. It just has to be travel related. So I'm not doing real estate videos anymore. I'm not even doing business stories anymore. So I've kind of like niched down again to like have a focus on my channel so that anybody who comes, they will just know me as, oh, this guy creates like really awesome. He tells stories about different places, himself, and things and people happening across the world.
No, absolutely. I think, niching down is a term we often hear, and it's something that maybe some people are like, oh, I don't know what my niche is. So I think what you mentioned about experimenting with a lot of different things at first, in order for you to establish within yourself what you truly like creating, and then deciding, okay, I'm going to double down on this thing, is definitely a key strategy. Another worry that some people might have when it comes to niching down is, what if my niche is so specific, there's not a wide enough audience for it? But I think what those people need to keep in mind is that YouTube is an international platform. There are people from all over the world watching. And so no matter how specific your niche, you're going to find a large community of people that enjoy watching what you're creating. And Tayo, I know that you have a very international audience. You know, you've been traveling to different countries and getting recognized for your videos no matter where you go. When did you first realize you had a reach beyond just, you know, Nigeria or beyond just the UK, the US? Like, when did you realize you had an international audience?
I think at the beginning when I realized it was my audience was kind of like I had more because I used to look at the analytics. I realized, oh, I had a lot of people from the US, from the UK watching. For me, it was just more of like, okay. When I saw that, I was like, if they are interested in watching what I'm making now, that means if I traveled there, they would also probably be interested in watching it. So I won't say that it was meeting people like seeing them when I traveled that made me like decide to go there because I've always wanted to have an international audience. I've always wanted to make videos that anybody across the world can watch because I thought about the fact that all the people I was learning how to make videos from, like the case Niger, Peter McKinnon, I've never met them before, but I'm watching their videos and I'm in Lagos, Nigeria. So that means I can also make my own videos wherever I'm at, wherever I am in the world, and anybody across the world can also watch it. So the whole point of like expanding and traveling out there has always been something that I've always wanted to do. And secondly, when I started to understand analytics and CPM and realized that the international audience, the CPM and CPM is cost per mil, is how much you make per 1,000 views for a lot of people who are watching. I realized that if you have an international audience, you make more money. So I started to kind of like pivot my content recently from last year, like within last year and this year now, to appeal more to like the international audience. So yeah.
Right. What I'm just curious, like on that note, what sort of strategies are you employing to nurture that international audience more? Or what are you thinking of using anyway?
Yeah, so one of the things I've realized and I've started doing is just one, it's like, okay, who do I want to appeal to and what are they interested in? And kind of like having like my audience profile. Like what does my audience look like, my major audience? I realize my major audience, like the people who watch me the most are people in my age group who are interested in traveling the world and seeing places. And if I think about it, when I think about it, I'm like, okay, checking my traffic, where is most of my audience coming from? What are the sorts of content that would appeal to them? Also, another one is also looking at a lot of like the YouTubers in America, like, okay, where are they going to? How can I make this video that they made, but in my own way? How can I share my own perspective, even though I'm an African discovering the world, but maybe a lot of like guys in Canada or guys in the US have made videos about a specific country. I can go there and also make my own video and share my own, like perspective. Because the fact that a lot of people watch that video from America, that means if I make my own, they'll probably see it too. So those are some of the strategies. I think one I also did recently with the Caribbean was like, I realized that most of the people who travel to the Caribbean, mostly from America. So that was why I went there to make videos, like the Bahamas video. I always wanted to visit Bahamas though, but the main idea behind it was like, okay, to get more of that international audience. And eventually, like looking at the analytics after dropping the video, I realized that like over 40 something percent of the people who watched that video, they are all from America.
It sounds like you've taken a lot of inspiration from other YouTubers, other creators internationally. And I know that you've also collaborated with them. I'd love to hear your thoughts on general collaboration. Have you found that it's helped you build your audience? Has it helped the people you've collaborated with to build their audience?
So yeah, well, it's very complicated because sometimes I've collaborated with, when I was starting out, I used to feel like if you just had a collaboration with like one big YouTuber, you just blow up and then you just have all the subscribers. But gradually, as I've gotten to do it over time, I realized that sometimes, it doesn't really do much. And collaboration is good, depending on who you decide to pick and depending on how it is done. Because I've done collaborations with people before, and how it was done, it wasn't done in a way where it's like kind of like mutual. So you have to figure out who the person is, what kind of content it is, does it align with the person's audience? Because imagine me, I'm I'm a travel channel and I'm doing, if I did a collaboration with maybe a cooking channel, so if travel and cooking is still kind of like related, but it's like, it has to be kind of like similar, or maybe like a business channel now, and I'm travel. If it's too far apart, or a gaming channel, imagine like I'm a travel creator and I did a collaboration with a gaming channel. It won't work because the
We find a
audiences
way
are
to make it
different.
work. Don't worry, we find a way. But yeah, so
Simi's
I
gutted.
definitely understand what you mean. It's
Yeah,
it's super important that the audience that you're
yeah,
trying to mesh are audiences that share similar interests. That's
exactly.
definitely something a misconception I had when I was younger was all you need is one big shout out or one big
Exactly.
collaboration, and then every person in
Ev-
that audience will come to you. And then when you think about it, it's like, wait a minute, when the creators I've watched have done a video of someone else, the only time I've gone to check out that person's channel is when that person had content I was interested in, because I'm interested in
exactly.
the creator I'm already watching. And so I think that's something that's really important for creators to consider is that, wait a minute, is there an audience synergy here? Is there something that this creator can offer my audience? Not just me as a creator, but can they offer something to my audience? Because that's how they're going to grow. So absolutely, I think that's a terrific point to bring up.
Yeah, definitely. I think audience is so important. Like, obviously, we focus a lot on creating the content, and you can get kind of swept up in your videos, you put it out there. But how do you interact with your audience? I'm interested to know that. Do you specifically reply to comments, or I don't know, give us a little insight into your community?
Yeah. So for my audience, I think when I started out, and even up to now, one of the things I try to do is to reply to as many comments as possible. So if I drop a new video, I reply to a lot of comments. Even my last video I dropped yesterday, I think I've replied to probably maybe like 10, 20 comments now. And I'm still going to go back again and reply to it. I think that's one of the best ways to interact because it's like for somebody to take out time out of their day to watch your video and comment, especially some people who even have like 5, 6, 7 lines of comments, like it means they took time to type that thing out. And then if you don't respond or if you don't reply or they see that you don't reply, it's not, you're not engaging. That means you're not engaging with your audience. And then for me, an engaged audience is very important. And I always like to feel like, we're in conversations because from there you can even get feedback or ideas for your videos. So I use my comments, I use my community tab. I posted a video 2 days ago. The video got demonetized, so I had to take it down. And I had to go to my community tab to tell them that, oh, okay, this is what happened because some people were watching the video when it got taken down. So community tab is also one I use. The comments. I also use the comments. And another one I started doing last year was if I go to a country, I try to do meetups because there's nothing. I did a meetup in London. I did a meetup in New York. And it was interesting actually seeing the people who watch it physically. Like I think over like 50 people came. So like 50 people, like and there are people who watch me. So interacting with them in real life was very interesting for me because for me, like community is everything. Community is the most important reason why we still even exist on this platform. Because if there was no community, you just post videos and nobody watches. So I believe interacting and keeping that community like interaction healthy is very key.
When you realize these people behind the usernames are real people, it's such a weird feeling. It's crazy. But Simi, have you ever been to like a convention or anything? Have you ever met any of your viewers?
I did have that happen to me in Germany. I went to a gaming convention, Gamescom, and Gamescom there are loads of stalls to like buy all sorts of trinkets, and I was on a last minute dash to get something for my family before I came back home, and they're like, "Hey, what? You went abroad, you didn't get us anything." So I was on a last minute dash, and there was someone that was walking up towards me, and I was like, why are they coming towards me?" I wasn't sure what was going on. They were like, "Hey, are you Tamago? Are you a YouTuber?" I was like, "No way! Did I just get recognized in a whole other country?" So it's something which is quite astounding to realize. Wow, people are all over the world are watching. I mean, you don't even have to get recognized in person to realize it. Just looking at your YouTube studio analytics and seeing what countries people are watching from, these are real analytics. You can see people watching from all these countries, and it can be really heartwarming. And especially when you have that kind of like support all over the world, it can bolster you as a creator. It can give you that drive to continue and also give you a sense of confidence in what you're doing, that you know that there are people who are watching it. Tayo, I know that you've been able to leverage the support of your audience in many ways throughout the years. Could you like talk to us a little bit about that, about, you know, not just knowing that you have that audience support, but actually seeing like tangible evidence of that support as well?
Yes, I think one of the ways. So there are so many ways because I usually come up with things once in a while to check because it's like when I look at a lot of social media platforms, I've seen situations where it's like people will have like 1 million, 2 million followers, but it's like they do meetups or they try to sell something and nobody buys because the engagement on that platform, the level of connection on that platform is different as compared to like YouTube. YouTube is like even if you have 10,000 subscribers, those 10,000 people would, you know, they are watching you, they are sitting down watching you for 10 minutes, 20 minutes. The level of connection is much stronger. And I think there are situations where it's like maybe I'm trying to raise money for because there was a time we're trying to raise money for some different causes. So there are different causes happening, you know, like maybe like GoFundMe for like there was one instance, there were these guys under the bridge. We did a video about them and we're able to raise, I think we're able to raise like almost $100,000 from the video I made for that cause. And then I make videos about like maybe like a business individual, and then the person comes back to me and says like, "Oh wow, the video you made, you know, gave us this, helped us get this grants, or helped us get funding, or helped us meet our investors." So I see the impact that the platform has, and I also see that the audience that I have, they are really plugged in into whatever I tell them about.
I agree as well. I've found the same kind of thing is that with long form content, people are more, I want to say, invested in your life and in you because they're spending a bigger chunk of
Yes.
their day watching your content. Whereas with other social media sites, maybe they're just scrolling, they're kind of aimlessly distracting themselves from the real world. But when they're watching your YouTube videos, obviously it's taking time out of their day. And I know that your channel does mainly focus on long form content. We've had a couple of creators on this
Yeah.
podcast who focus more on short form or YouTube shorts. And I know you kind of dabble in YouTube shorts. So can you talk us through your strategy and your approach to long form content versus shorts?
I'm a long form guy.
Yeah.
I've always been a long form guy because first of all, long form is like where you can grow the best connection with your audience. I think when Shorts was launched, I was kind of like very skeptical about it because I'm like, you know, like it's like YouTube is like is meant to be like, you know, like we are meant to post long form videos so that we can, you know, have that connection, spend more time with the audience. But I think recently I've started testing out shorts. I think I had one of my first short get like 2 million views 4 months ago, and I kind of like saw the fact that okay, what it did because now YouTube has this new feature that allows you attach a long form video to the shorts. So when the shorts did well, I picked a short. So I did a video on Namibia, and then I did a short on Namibia, and then I kind of like attached my long form Namibia video to it. So I noticed that the day when the short did well, I got some views from the shorts. And the shorts also made money, interestingly. It made some money. It wasn't as much as, it wasn't a lot, it was very small, but it made money and it also made people watch the long form video. So nowadays, I'm trying to be very strategic about it. So if I make a long form video, I want to make like a short that is related to that long form video. So that's kind of like my strategy with shorts at the moment. That's what I'm doing now.
I totally agree with that. I do think that with shorts they are a good entry point for viewers who maybe are not willing to commit to a full length video yet. And so if you can put out a short, it's okay. You know, if you want to watch this and then you're intrigued enough, maybe you'll watch the long form thing. But I definitely agree, like long form, and I know for Hannah as well, it's just our bread and butter, isn't it? So we definitely love prioritizing those two.
Yeah, but I do also think when long form is your bread and butter, it's so easy to make a short from your long form content because you've got the footage. You can just edit it in a different way, and then that means you can appeal to viewers who prefer shorts and viewers who prefer long form. It's kind of like best of both worlds. Everyone keeps telling me on this podcast I need to be posting more shorts, and I really need to take the advice.
On the topic of, you know, content strategy and knowing, you know, having like a really strategic view of how we go about making our content, with your content, Tyler, obviously it's travel related, so there is a lot of planning that has to go in, not just for making the video but also getting to the different countries you travel to. I want to know what is your process of planning a video? Do you decide you're going to go to a place and then figure out what sort of video you want to make? Or do you decide a video you want to make and see, okay, what place would fit this? Can you just tell us a bit more about that?
I'm actually the worst planner ever. I don't know how I made it this far. Because usually I can wake up today. Back then, like this back then, I'm even saying it's like last year. And like since I started YouTube, I can wake up today and just be like, okay, I'm going to this other country. No plan, nothing. And then I get there and I figure out what I want to film. But now this year, what I've started doing is like I research the country first. I kind of like pick out places I want to go, things I want to see, what's the story I want to tell, write out some touch points. And then I go. And then when I get there, I film the video. And when I get back, or if I'm there, I create a script and then we kind of like record the video and we edit it and all of that. And then that's how the video comes out. So my planning back then was very horrible because I'm very spontaneous. I just pick my bag and I'm off. But I realized that it wasn't very efficient over time and it was very stressful, especially when you're traveling to a country you don't know anybody and you want to make videos. But now I've tried to make it more efficient by planning ahead. Hannah, I think you make some videos where you go where you live. You've done travel videos too, right? Because yours is lifestyle.
Yeah, lifestyle is my thing on YouTube, is my niche. So I don't really plan my content at all. I mean, I do have a rough idea. I'd say like maybe once every 6 months, I will sit down and I will literally write the most basic plan because I upload a video every Sunday. I will write a rough idea to kind of give me a guide. Maybe I'll upload a weekly vlog or I'll upload what I eat in a day, which obviously this type of content is so different to your content, Tayo, that it doesn't really take a lot of planning. I like to just, for my own peace of mind, give myself a rough guide. But generally speaking, each week I film whatever I'm doing that week and that people like to see that relatable, normal side of life. So I'm quite lucky in that my videos don't take much planning. I'm not sure how well I'd get on if I did have to plan. What about you, Simi, with the gaming? Do you have to plan your content a lot?
I mean, for me, I'm already like a really plan heavy person. I love being organized. I love schedules. Even I had a friend message me the other day, like, how do you structure your day? I gave him a whole list of paragraphs of, okay, I use this, I do that. But for me, I do really like having a plan in place. And when it comes to my videos, essentially it starts with brainstorming sessions where I'm like, okay, what sort of videos can I make? Generally speaking, they are going to be around gaming and internet culture. So I'm looking into what games are coming out that I would like to play. What things do I think my audience would be interested in? And I come up with a list. And then I'm trying to whittle down which ideas I think would work well, how I think I can go about making the video in the most interesting way, whether that be a scripted video or a live stream, which I turn into a video, or just a video which is like a spontaneous, like I sit down and I just, react to whatever I'm looking at on the screen. And so the levels of planning really vary depending on how I want to go about making the video. But I do like having a plan in place. I like trying to think of what good thumbnail and title combination would work as I'm making the video. When I was starting out, I used to always leave the thumbnail and title to when I'm literally uploading the video, and it's like, oh, okay, I need to figure out how people are gonna see this in a short snippet that'll get them to click. But and it's definitely a fun way to do it. But I do find that a more reliable way to do it is to give it a bit of thought beforehand, and then you can actually tailor the video to better suit the thumbnail and title, so that you know that when people click into it, they're quickly getting what they hoped to get from that initial kind of marketing you've given through that thumbnail and title. So that is definitely something I keep in mind these days when it comes to making videos. I mean, you mentioned this earlier as well, but it's quite clear to see that there's been an evolution in how you have like gone about producing your videos. And I think that term evolution is really important when it comes to YouTube, because not only do we have to evolve as creators ourselves to keep it interesting for us, but YouTube is an ever-evolving platform. The things that work best are changing gradually but constantly over time. And I think one of our roles as creators is to find out how we can keep up with that changing time on YouTube and on a lot of these internet platforms, how do you go about making sure you're still, keeping up with the times, you're still on the cutting edge of creating content? Do you have any strategies to make sure you're keeping up with trends, or how important are trends to you?
Yeah, I think I have one strategy. Just just keep learning.
Keep learning.
So every day for the past like 6 years since I started YouTube, at least let me not say every day, let me say every week, I always watch at least 3, 4, 5 videos about like what is happening like on YouTube. I watch a podcast. I used to watch a lot of these guys. They're Colin and Samir. They make this podcast where they're always interviewing creators. I watch a lot of podcasts about. I follow a lot of like my creators. So anytime I see a podcast from somebody, maybe Case and I start saying something or this other person saying something, I'm always just like watching it. I also watch a lot of like I stay updated. I'm always updated on the platform. I'm on Twitter. I'm following a lot of people, talking about this is what they use, this is the strategy they use.
And I think that's great because I get to actually see, okay, people who like me also like these channels. Now, it's not about, wait, what can I take from these channels? It's more about what can I learn from these channels? What are they doing that can inform the way I go about making videos? So that's one tool that I like in particular. And in general, I'm big on just analytics and sort of interpreting the numbers and interpreting, stuff like viewer sources. Where people choosing to click into my videos from? Are they choosing to click into the videos? Does that suggest I need to change something with my thumbnails or titling? All sorts of stuff. So I think definitely being a student of YouTube is as important as making the videos, because if we make the videos but there's no one to watch it, then we don't get that sense of community, which is a big part of doing this. And yeah, Hannah, I'd love to hear, like, how do you go about staying up to date with what's going on YouTube?
Yeah, definitely. I was actually going to say one of the exact features you mentioned in the analytics, where you can see other channels that are similar to you and you can see what else your audience is enjoying watching. That's a big one that I look at quite a lot. But I feel like I feel like I live and breathe YouTube. I feel like I'm always watching the kind of content that I enjoy creating. So I think I naturally keep up to date with what people are doing. I make a lot of videos that are like what's out in the shops these days. So I'll kind of like look at my subscription box a lot for inspiration and just generally picking up little nuggets of information from other people. I think, yeah, when you're creating YouTube videos, you have to have that love for creating the content. And obviously, Tayo, sounds like you really do have that love for creating, producing, learning about YouTube, but also loving travel in general. I mean, you don't have to try for your content, but it must be difficult to find a bit of a balance when you're filming and your hobby becomes your work. Where do you find the balance between just enjoying a trip and filming everything on your trip? Is that something that you've ever struggled with?
I'm just struggling with it, actually.
If I understand correctly, you're actually abroad right now as part of filming a video, right?
No, actually, I live here now.
Oh,
wow.
Right. Wait, whereabouts is that?
In Portugal. I'm in Lisbon. I currently live, so I currently
Fantastic.
I live here like on at the moment, but I still live in Nigeria, but I'm bouncing between both. But the reason I live here now is because it's easier for me to access other parts of the world from here than from Nigeria. So
that's
yeah.
great. That's great.
Wow.
Yeah. So
do you ever have holidays?
Yeah, holidays, not really. I would say I don't think I've gone on a holiday since I started like making videos. Because what I do is basically like what people do when they are going on a holiday, but I do it for work. So my idea of a holiday is just being in my house, sleeping on my bed. That's my own holiday. Because I'm like, I don't want to see. I'm just like, I don't want to be outside. I just want to be inside. So a lot of people complain actually, because I have my friend. They're like, oh, let's go here, let's go here. I'm like, nah, I just want to sleep. Because every time I'm on the road, like I just did like 6 countries, like 2 weeks ago within 30 days. So 6 countries back to back. So like, but as regards like. Let me not make it sound too depressing, because it's something a lot of people across the world want to do, and it was my dream to be doing it. So it's not like I'm complaining, but I'm also just trying to make people understand that it's not as easy as it seems. Because a lot of people see me, they're always like, "Oh, Ty, you're always on a holiday, you're always in this nice place," which I'm thankful for. Like today is Monday, like I could be doing anything I wanted to do now. A lot of people don't have that opportunity to do that. So what I've started trying to do is to figure out, pick out days or months where it's going to be. This is going to be strictly work, and then I pick out months where it's like this month I'm not touching a camera. If you bring a camera near me, I'll throw it away. So because one thing that happens, especially for someone like me, is like when your hobby becomes work, then it sucks out the joy out of the hobby, because then you have to do it to make, like, you have to do it to make money. Like if I'm thinking of where I want to travel to, I'm not thinking about it because, oh, I actually want to go to this place. I'm thinking about, oh, would the viewers love watching this video I'm going to make about this place? And that is now what drives your decision making process. Because at the end of the day, you have to make money. Like if you're a full-time YouTuber, you have to make money. So, so for me, finding that balance has come from picking out, dividing my days.
Right, yeah, and I think it is like an interesting thing that a lot of creators experience, because I mean, a lot of creators are creators who started making videos because it was something they enjoyed, and they also enjoyed making videos, and so they decided to merge the two. I know for myself with gaming, I have a similar experience where nowadays when I play a game, I feel like if this isn't being recorded, if this isn't somehow being turned into content, then it feels like a missed opportunity, rather than just, oh, I'm just sitting down playing a game. Which, overall, like you said, Ty, I don't mind too much, because being able to say, oh, I play games and that's part of what I do for my work is like incredible. 12-year-old me would be running around the walls like, that is unbelievable. I can't believe that's what you do. But then there's a point where it's like, you have to play this game. And it's like, wait a minute, what? How has this become a thing I have to do now? So, yeah, absolutely. And Hannah, do you experience something similar? I know that your channel is more so about lifestyle, so it might not be a particular hobby, but is there something where now you're thinking, oh, this could be content?
I mean, for me, it's more like on a day-to-day basis. If I'm out doing something, I always feel like I should be filming that. And if I'm not, I'm like, oh, that could have gone in the weekly vlog. So, yeah, I definitely feel that as well. But I mean, on the flip side, guys, how lucky are we that our hobbies became our job? Like, it's actually crazy when you sit and think about that.
Unbelievably lucky. And always grateful for being able to do this for a living, honestly.
Always grateful.
Same here.
I feel like we've had a really great discussion today, Tayo. And obviously we started this conversation by looking at one of your first ever videos. So I'd love to know, what advice would you give to younger Tayo who is about to set up his camera and film that first video?
So many. One would be so it's so many, but it's interesting because if I didn't make all those mistakes, I wouldn't know what I know now. I think one of the ones I would say is like, when you find something that works. One of the mistakes I made when I started out was I found something that worked, but I kept stalling on it. I should have focused on it. So when I was making different types of videos, I made a real estate video that kind of like went viral. And instead of me to now make more real estate videos, I left it and went back to making what wasn't working, because I wanted to make what I liked. But the whole point of YouTube is like, you have to find the intersection between what you love and what people love. So if you make a video about something you like and it works out, then you're meant to make more of that. But I made a mistake and didn't make more of that and went back to doing what I was saying before. So that's one advice I would give. It's like, when you find something that works, double down on it, because that's one of the fastest ways to grow on the platform. I think another one too is like, don't overthink stuff. I'm somebody who likes to overthink. I'm also a perfectionist. So it's like, when I started making videos, I always wanted my videos to be on the same level with the people I was watching in the US and in the UK. And those ones, they had like 1 million subscribers. I mean, I had like 10 subscribers with no money. And I wanted my video to be on that level. And I wouldn't post a video if it wasn't on that level. And I think if I had just created content and just focused more on making as much content as possible and just, doing the repetitions, going through the motions, I would have made more videos instead of being focused on just making like the videos as perfect as possible. I think another one too was also like, thinking too at the beginning that, oh, I have to buy the most expensive gear before I can make videos. Um, and yeah, but I think that's it. I think if you wanted to go more into like practical steps, it would be also like, like focusing on, titles, thumbnails, all of that. But all those things, they are things you will learn along the way because you can't know everything at the beginning.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Like YouTube is a constant learning process, and I think your channel and just you as a person embodies that. So thank you so much for sharing what you know. We have learned so much about getting started on YouTube, evolving over time, and growing a team and learning how to work together with them. If you would like to learn more about the things we've discussed on the podcast today, as well as check out Tayo's channel for yourself, it will be linked in the description below. And you can check out his channel and see all of his inspiring stories for yourself.
And remember, we've also filmed previous episodes of the Making It podcast that you can find either on the YouTube Creators YouTube channel, or you can listen to it on the go on the YouTube Music app or wherever you get your podcasts. We've already filmed episodes with the likes of Matthew and Ryan, Jade Beeson, Yo Sandy Sam, and Big Jet, so be sure to go and check them out.
Thanks again to everyone for joining us on this episode of Making It. We hope you learned something valuable and were inspired by Tayo's passion and creativity.
Until next time, make sure you like and subscribe, keep learning, keep growing, and keep making it on YouTube.